Don't judge me. I just wish you knew. That's just what you miss you all the time. Need you.
Yo, 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 yo. Yo. What's going on, people? What's going on, people, man? We coming through here on a Thursday afternoon as we coming with the 6-man convo. I'm your host, K Styles, a.k.a. the 6th Man. And riding shotgun on today's episode, you already know him as the Senator. But we call him a Mad Mike Luciano.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What do you think about the new intro, Mike?
It's so you. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man. For those that are new to the channel, that song that's actually used was the original updated 6-man intro with a little tweaks to it. But we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in here, man. So before we go ahead and get into it, Mike, what do we have here today? It is the what? 3-letter words.
It's the real. It's the real call.
All right, Prince.
Yeah, I tried.
All right. That was the all right, Prince. All right, let's get right into it, man. We got the roll call getting on here, man. We're gonna kick it off with a 137 sizzle. We got King Treyway. We got Ghost Peppers, Georgia, Texas boy. We got, and definitely shout out to the members as well, man. Let me give a special shout out to you, boy. BP in the building. We got Jam, Mr. 58 himself.
Yes.
We got Southside. We got B-Nard. Got one of my favorite ladies, Sonia's in the building, as well as Maggie T, Mental Health and Wellness. Anime, what's going on? We got Bernard. We got another B-Nard in here, but it's B-Nard Cantrell. And Amy. So we definitely appreciate y'all coming in, man. Mike, how are we doing this evening, man? How you feeling?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to do that. I'm feeling wonderful.
What'd you say? Oh yay, Vaya. Oh no, I was listening to Earl Greyhound all day today. So you know that's one of my favorite groups. You already know. Well, most folks don't know that, but man, it's been a very, very interesting day. As we already know, the winter wonderland is over. It's still just cold as hell, but Mike, before we go ahead and get started, we got a couple topics that we want to get into. Like I said, man, it's pretty much going to be a part 2 to your Mad Mike rants earlier today. And today's conversations we're going to have is Doomsday for Kyle Pitts and the Raheem Morris expectations in 2025, which is going to be a continuation on the conversation that you wanted to have on your live earlier today, but we never really got into it.
Yes, sir.
Obvious reasons. So, since we have Raheem Morris here, smiling suit and all. I'm gonna go ahead and let you run point on this, man. Raheem Morris expectations 2025. I know. Let me go ahead and let me get
Mm-hmm.
everybody situated with this. So, as the Atlanta Falcons this past season, 2024-2025 season, there was a expectation of success for this team, whereas it was pretty much foundation set. By popular conversations, they needed a new head coach, and Raheem Morris was the coach that they brought in, not on well, pretty much for the culture of the city as per se. And the Atlanta Falcons fell below expectations for this season as far as making the playoffs, winning the NFC South, probably possibly winning a playoff game. Um, you you had a thought, and we've talked about this offline as well as the Kyle Pitts conversation that you had earlier was supposed to also pertain to Raheem Morris. So let the people know why this Kyle Pitts situation and Raheem Morris, and give your expectation. I already know where you probably gonna go with this, but let the people know.
Well, obviously, we decide every once in a while to kind of give it to the people. Last couple of days, we've been giving it to the people and to kind of speak their piece on this matter. And what we've gathered over the course of the year and throughout the years, there's been one thing that I say that really bothers me, and it irks my nerves just a tad bit, is that when it comes down to certain players, certain people, there's a level of expectations. Others get passed and others don't. And this is why we're having this conversation. But for me, the reason why Kyle Pitts was brought up was largely due to the fact of said expectations. So the question that I have for people before we kind of go too deeply into it is that, all right, what is your expectations for Raheem? Is it as a fan for the head coach? Because the thing is, for me, we have expectations for players. Okay, there's expectations for players, but in reality, is there really an expectation for the head coach and the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? Because the way I see it, everything seems to solely fall square on the player's shoulder. And it's not just one particular player. I don't want to make this seem like this is just a Kyle Pitts thing, because we've seen this from the last few quarterbacks. And I think this is really interesting because you go back to Matt Ryan. Let's just go to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is his 14-year career in Atlanta, okay? He's been with the Atlanta Falcons for quite some time. The expectation continuously changed. There was not just one particular narrative in regards to Matt Ryan, all right? If we go for, all right, is he the right guy to lead us? What Michael Vick? All right, he answered that by winning Rookie of the Year. Okay, is he going to get us to the playoffs? Well, he did that. All right. Is he going to win us an MVP? Well, he did that. All right. Can he win more than one playoff game in one league? Well, he did that. All right. Can he get us to a Super Bowl? He did that. All right. Can he win us a Super Bowl? He was unable to accomplish that. So the expectations in regards to Matt Ryan always change. Now, you got guys like Mike Vick. There was no real expectations with Mike Vick. Mike Vick could just be Mike Vick, all right? He could just do what he does. You look at guys like Marcus Mariota. I mean, was there really an expectation for Marcus Mariota? Me personally, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think really with Marcus Mariota, I think the thing was I think not everybody, but a lot of the Falcon fans were so ready to move on from Matt Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
and they just felt like they needed a fresh new face. To actually, let's just be honest with you, they felt like
Mm-hmm.
they needed a quarterback that can fucking run. And Mariota was one of those guys who was kind of like that guy who can run and make things happen with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue was when the season started off like that, everybody was enamored by the fact that he could run. And what's going on, Miss Hattie? Dre Murphy, Georgia Texas boy. Um, but there was one thing that was missing out of that equation. Marcus Mariota couldn't play quarterback worth shit.
Mm.
So
So
go ahead, Mike.
the question I have for you: so if they're, what would you say that Falcons fans realized that it had to be more than just a guy that was athletic? Because obviously with Matt Ryan, the general consensus around him, he wasn't athletic enough. And then we brought in a guy that was athletically gifted in Marcus Mariota. He can run. I think he had close to like 400 yards rushing, if I'm not mistaken, on the year. So he could run. He can do the things that a quarterback that a Michael Vick could do. You know, might probably not to the level of excitement that Mike Vick, but he could do the things that Mike Vick could do. So do you
Right.
think these guys, once they saw it, it's like, all right, it's going to take more? Do you think the Falcons fans realize what Marcus Mariota, like, we can't just wish for a quarterback with athleticism?
I think I think where the I think they would, because you also have to also remember in 2021 in that playoff in the preseason. You remember when Felipe Franks made that scramble for 50? It was like a 50-yard scramble in the preseason, and everybody in the city of Atlanta busted a nut over seeing that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think everybody was just waiting to see the quarterback make plays with the feet like that. Um, and with Mariota, you got a little bit of that. You got enough of that. But the problem was the other aspect of the quarterback position was lacking. And I think a lot of people were starting to get kind of tired and fed up with it. Hence why in 2022, within the last month of the season, that's why a lot of the Falcon fans was calling for one said Desmond Ritter, was because Marcus Mariota didn't give them the balance of a quarterback that they didn't realize that they were looking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we head into 2023, and I wouldn't say it was necessarily that much excitement in from as far as the fan base, but it was more so of, okay, you got something there, but let's just get through the season and see what's up. But there was one obstacle that happened in that offseason that kind of changed the expectations for that said position, and it was the popular topic of Lamar Jackson coming to Atlanta. So it changed the dynamic of the quarterback position in Atlanta to where the Atlanta Falcons had first came out and said, we are in no pursuit of a said Lamar Jackson. So it pissed a lot of people off. So what it did was it heightened the expectations for one said Desmond Ritter. So it pretty much put Ritter in a position. Hey, Auntie Pam, Diamond, what's going on?
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies. But the idea and the reports of Lamar Jackson and a lot of the fanfare of him coming to Atlanta is really the catalyst that pushed Desmond Ridder out of Atlanta, because a lot of people and a lot of the media was so upset that the Falcons didn't go after a Lamar Jackson. It made Desmond Ridder, he literally had to be an MVP in 2023 in order for the fans to be accepting of him. And unfortunately with him, he made plays, but then he made some boneheaded plays that you cannot come back from. For example, fumbling the ball at the goal line against Tampa Bay, the goofy ass interception against Washington at home, and the dreaded Carolina game where he threw the interception in the closing moments of the game. So that's where a lot of the Falcon fans were sick of him at. And like I said, and I stand on what I said. I was a supporter of Desmond Ridder. But his biggest issue was he tried to do too much. He tried to prove to the Atlanta fans that he belonged, and he ended up making more crucial mistakes than he needed to, which is the reason why he was gone. Enter Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris comes into the building, acknowledges that the quarterback situation is a topic of discussion for the Falcons in the 2024 offseason. Traded Desmond Ridder. Bring in a Kirk Cousins, and I'm just letting everybody know, Kirk Cousins was Raheem Morris's idea for the simple fact that he had familiarity with Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins was on the market at that time.
From Washington days.
From the Washington days. And they draft Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. So we've already started the season with a quarterback controversy, which will be literally the 3rd consecutive year of a quarterback controversy. So go into the 2024 season, start off 6-3. Lost a couple games here and there. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. No, you get a 509 game from Kirk Cousins. And we think we riding high. But boy, oh boy, when that Seattle game came up, the wheels fell off for this team faster than Suki Hana said that she ready to give up them draws. So it went from a 6-3 team to an 8-9 team, just like that.
Which leads us to the question of today: is why is it that on one hand there are expectations for said players that they should, because let's keep it real, Raheem was named and labeled the child prodigy. This is why he became one of the youngest coaches to ever get a job. I think he was like 30-something years old at the time he got his job. If I'm not mistaken, I forget exactly when he get it, but he was one of the youngest head coaches in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. So he was labeled a child prodigy, all right? An NFL child prodigy. Not literally a child, but he's a child in NFL standard as far as his experience is concerned. All right, so he's labeled that. He is Kyle Pitts. He is the Kyle Pitts of the coaching genre. The coaching, right? That's what he is. So if he's labeled that, why aren't fans pissed because he's not giving us that 10, 11, 12. He's not giving us a top 10, a top 15 defense. He's not giving us that. This is what his strength is. So if Kyle Pitts' strength is what? Catching passes, being a wide receiver, as a lot of people say, this is what he's good at. And he's not living up to those expectations of being a multiple-time Pro Bowler in his fourth year, going into his fifth year as a tight end / wide receiver. If he's not giving us that, then why aren't those very same expectations for Raheem Morris, who was labeled a child prodigy? He was labeled a genius. You heard what Jeff Ulbrich said. He's a brilliant guy. He's one of the smartest guys that he's ever coached with. He considers him a brother. But he's not giving us. He's giving us vanilla ice cream. Ain't nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream, but sometimes somebody wants some, they want some strawberry. They want some sherbet. They want some walnuts in that thing. You know what I'm saying? He's not giving us vanilla. He's giving us vanilla ice cream every time we want for chocolate. Okay? We want some goddamn gone chocolate, but we're not getting that. So why is it that on one hand we have players, the Bijan Robinsons, the Drake Londons, the Tyler Algiers? I mean, you guys know for sure that our right tackle, he's become one of the better right tackles in the league. And we look for him. Anytime he has one bad game, it's all over the world. So why is it that Atlanta Falcons fans will not hold Raheem up to those very same standards? Because he is that prodigy. Why is the prodigy of our head coach? He isn't giving us, and we keep hearing the same thing. All right, give him more than a year. You gave Arthur Smith 3 years. Why can't we give him 3 years? So why aren't we saying that exact same thing for everybody? Why aren't we holding everybody to that very same standard?
Well, and like I said, this is my opinion and this is my guess on that. Is Raheem Morris comes off, well, let's just be honest. He's a familiar face within the franchise itself, for one thing. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's a homegrown product because he was brought up in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff with Tony Dungy and stuff. But he had been with this team long enough to where a lot of people look at him as being one of their own. And it also helped him in this matter that, you had a lot of the sports media and you had a lot of the podcasts that he was doing in the offseason paint him in the light of that guy that just needed a second chance. That guy who was a good guy. And it was good for the image of the city of Atlanta because he's a black man. Atlanta's a black city. And it fulfilled a certain prophecy within certain fans within the fan base that it was that time for him to be that guy. Now, you asked the question that people ask is, why would you give Arthur Smith a chance or give him 3 years, but you ready to tear Raheem Morris down? And I've said this time and time again, if you make this into a black and white issue, then you've lost the very idea of what the conversation is about. The reason why a lot of us gave Arthur Smith a chance was because when this franchise was at its lowest, and what I mean by lowest was a terrible cap situation, bad contracts, and you've literally had to go around from the first 2 seasons playing with at least 40 guys off the street. That's a situation that a lot of experienced head coaches are not willing to take, but Arthur Smith was willing to take on that challenge. This is why a lot of the fans gave Arthur Smith a leeway, because the Falcons were at their lowest at that point in time.
The lowest in NFL history. There had never been a franchise at that moment that had more dead cap than the Atlanta Falcons. That was a history-making dead cap year.
Mm-hmm. And then it also worked in just for a factual standpoint that at that time the Falcons was rated as one of the 2 worst teams in the NFL at that time. So the expectation was low. The expectations didn't come really until the 3rd year. And that's where Arthur Smith started really catching a lot of the flack, because now the patience started wearing thin. It was the same results, same record. Well, okay, so boom. Now, Raheem Morris, the reason why Raheem Morris is catching a lot of flack from Falcon fans is because the Falcons were looked at as a great situation. They were looked at as a team that was a quarterback away from taking the next step, which was winning the NFC South, going to the playoffs, at least winning a playoff game. This is what a lot of us were told. This is what a lot of us believed. And Raheem Morris came into a situation where it was already set for him to succeed as a head coach, because the foundation was already set. And the Falcons ended up winning 1 more game than Arthur Smith did his first year. So this goes back to what we're talking about, is expectations. When Arthur Smith first was the head coach with the Atlanta Falcons, a lot of the Falcon fans and a lot of the media didn't expect this team to win 3 games. Raheem Morris takes over a Falcon team in 2024. This team was expected to do big things. So this is where a lot of that, this is where a lot of, I ain't gonna say vitriol, but this is where a lot of the anger and the angst comes in when it come to Raheem Morris. It was all about expectations. And the Falcons fell below expectations. So that's why a lot of the fans are upset. That's why a lot of us are upset about Raheem Morris. Very first thing he said was, let's outrun the South. We outran the South, but we fell flat against everybody else.
Mm-hmm. and as Kale so eloquently stated, there's a third part of this, is that this isn't his first time. Mm-hmm. This guy has been sitting next to some legends. Sean McVay, where he's headed as a coach, he's headed to be one of the best coaches in the NFL, if not already that. His wins and his statement, he's doing it without Aaron Donald right now. So nobody can say that he's a failure as a head coach. You can't say right now, as of now, you can't say that Aaron Donald is the only reason why he's successful. Why? He went to the playoffs. He did it without him. Mm-hmm. His offense is still very productive. Not only does he have a Cooper, but he has a Puka. Y'all like
Puka.
that. You got
He said,
Puka.
what say? Meet my Pikachu. Puka.
Puka.
If anybody remember that Pokemon episode with the surfing Pikachu, his name was Puka.
Puka.
So just remember that.
So he's been around not only one of the greatest defensive minds of all time, well, two of the greatest defensive minds of all time, and Tony Dungy, who is pretty much the guy that I wouldn't say he created, but he innovated that cover two scheme. All right. And then you have another guy that on here, and he passed away. The great who, Kev? Defensive coach that ran it for him?
Who? I think you might need to tell him, Mike. You might need to tell him and educate him, Mike.
So we're talking about some of not only the greatest coach of all time, but see, I'm trying to say this in a way where people can truly understand, you know, the how much this guy mean to the NFL game. And I'm talking about Money Kiffin. Like if you ever played Madden, you played any video game during that time, that cover two defense for Money Kiffin.
That Tampa 2 defense.
Like, bro, those are the two godfathers of that Tampa 2, Money Kiffin and Tony Dungy. And this guy played under him. And you got another guy that played under him, and he coaches for the Steelers. Anybody want to take
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Coaching stuff.
So you got so many guys that already coach for this. So why am I as a Falcon fan when you got a guy that is coached under these guys, some of the greatest minds of all time, and we're not holding this guy to those exact same standards? So you telling me not only did you coach under those guys, you learn from this guy, you had the privilege to learn from the Shanahans, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan. Like, bro, we're talking about some of the greatest minds, defensive minds and offensive minds to ever step foot on that fucking sideline. Like, these are great coaches. And you telling me that I, as a Falcons fan and a fan of the game, I'm looking at Raheem, who has all of this knowledge, and has all these people that have taught him the game. I look at him, he's still running the exact same scheme that got us in this position to begin with. Soft coverage, non-aggressive, passive. He's still running the same scheme, and I'm not supposed to be upset, and I'm not supposed to hold him to a higher standard, because the last thing, look, this is the equivalent of what I'm talking about. Let's go to the college game. There's a guy right now who retired. Okay, he retired. Alabama. Nick
Saban.
Nick Saban. Nick Saban. And one of the coaches right now in the great state of Georgia won 2 national championships.
Kirby Smart.
And Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart won 2 championships because he learned under Nick Saban. So if Kirby Smart can coach next to a Nick Saban and he win championships, and you telling me that a guy like Raheem Morris can coach next to two guys that have won 3 championships, Money Kiffin and Tony Dungy combined, just from the coaching standpoint. So everybody that's been, let's keep it real, most of all these coaches that we have that have won, they've coached next to greatness. But for Raheem, I'm supposed to continually give him chance after chance after chance after chance. It didn't take Mike Tomlin 15, 20 years to figure out what he wanted to do defensively.
Right.
He's been here long enough. He's been in the game. And I'm talking about a guy that was in his 20s when he got there, when he got in the NFL and college. This dude is what, 44, 45, 46, something like that? I think he's like 46.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's been in the league 20 years or so.
Right.
So why hasn't we seen the growth from Raheem? Because let's be honest, what real growth have we seen from Raheem? And that's the conversation I want to have. Because on one end, Kyle Pitts hasn't had great offensive coordinators. He hasn't had great coaches. You can't see anybody on that
offensive coordinator was Dave Ragone. Let that sink in.
Yeah. His offensive coordinator was Dave Ragone. He hasn't had legends he had one legend that was Matt Ryan. And we hold him to these impossible standards. Let's keep it real. Whether we like it or not, a lot of these won't say impossible, but these are crazy. These are incredibly high standards in regards to Kyle Pitts. But with a guy like Raheem, who's had all these types of things, he's learned under legends. We're not holding him accountable for the knowledge that he's been given. So who, and this is the question that I have for everybody, K-Style.
What's up?
Who's really the failure? A guy that has had all of these legends and coached under all these great coaches has yet to prove that he's good at anything, or the guy that has made a Pro Bowl, but he hasn't had any consistency? So who's really the failure?
Well, we're going just based solely off of that. Like I said, if you're looking as far as Phil, you're going to look at the guy that had the most opportunities to learn from some of the highest minds. If we're going based off of that question right there, like you said, Tony Dungy, Mike Shanahan, going through Sean McVay, who is a young head coach right now, who's killing it right now.
Mm-hmm. Can I clear up one more thing right here? I'm talking about a guy that shows us that he's good at something.
Like I said, John Gruden. Like you said, it might. You made the key point about it too. Is and this kind of goes back to the live that you did earlier about having that mentor that has done it at the highest level consistently and having that consistency going down the line. So if you're looking at it based off of that, you would say Raheem Morris is the failure.
Yeah. Raheem hasn't shown us again. Andy Reid showed us that he can get there. See, this is what we're talking about. Andy Reid showed us that he could get to the Super Bowl and he could win, and we knew what he was great at. There was never any doubt at what Raheem Andy Reid was good at. There was never any doubt. There was never any doubt when you talk about Kyle Shanahan, what he was good at. There was never any doubt at what Kubiak was good at. There was never any doubt what Mike Shanahan was good at. There's still doubt. We still have no clue at what Raheem is good at besides smiling. And that's what that right there is for headache. That's for you headache. Wait, that's all he's good at is smiling. That motherfucker can smile. And they got a pretty smile. Okay, no homo. Pause. The nigga
Right.
got a pretty smile.
Man, that's veneers, motherfucker. That is veneers. You big quit bullshit.
All right. It's veneers.
Nah, but like I said, we're only having this part of the conversation because we want you to understand why a lot of people have the frustration behind it. Because what it is that a lot of people is looking at it as, oh man, he's a black man. You got to give him time. Let's say you hating on the black head coach, man, but you don't hate on the white head coach. The issue isn't a black and white issue. Once again, it's not a black and white issue. It's an expectation issue. And there was an expectation that was set not only by him, but it was set by Falcon Media, and it was set by a lot of us fans on what this team was going to be in 2024. And unfortunately, the team did not live up to that expectation. So Raheem Morris is gonna get some flack.
And that's where I stay. And that's why I said I've never said that I want Raheem fired, because I don't think that'll solve any of our issues. We're gonna be right back at square one. And I don't want to be at square one. What I'm saying is get it right. Stop telling us that you're going to get it right. All right, get it right. Make sure you do everything. And that's to go back to my rant. I say make sure you do anything and everything possible to get it right. And I do not feel that Raheem and the organization continues to do things the right way or do everything it takes to win. Because if we were so focused on winning, we shouldn't have given Julio Jones $60 million. We wanted to do it our way. There is no reason to give a 32-year-old wide receiver $60 million. Okay? Business-wise, there was no reason to give him that. You don't do that for a wide receiver at that age. We tried to do things our way. And that right there is the problem. Right. Stop doing things your way and do anything to win. That's what they need to be focused on, is winning.
Well, Juan ain't shit talking about Raheem got oversized chiclets. A-Town for Life here said he just have a smile and a savvy talk game that blank likes, and he doesn't come off as a threat to be an aggressive person. It's the softness with this project.
I agree.
Fred Bus with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you, man. He said give Pitts a full year with Penix, and we're actually going to talk about that here soon. Like I said, I just want to get this Raheem Morris thing out the way here for the next couple minutes, because I wanted to give the actual reasons why a lot of people come at Raheem Morris the way they do. Like I said, I will be the I will be the interpreter to Mike's frustrations, as I would like to put it. Georgia Test Boy said, I understood this was year 2 or 5. This was year 1. Once again, it's fan expectations over the situation itself. Because you also have to remember, after that year 1, it was a lot of people that wanted Arthur Smith fired too. Now, like I said, Arthur Blank didn't pull the trigger on that because you understood the situation of the team being as down as it was. They really didn't have an opportunity to really build this team until 2023. So in actuality, with Arthur Smith, 2023 was actually year 1.
What is year 1? That's another question before we go to that, Kim. And that's just hypothetical. You don't have to answer. But what does year 1 have to do with growth? He's been in the league 20 years. That's the thing I'm talking about. We want to keep going back to, it's only been 1 year, but he's been in the league 20 years. And we should know by now what he's good at, and we don't know. So it's a hypothetical. You really just talk a question. You don't really have to answer it, but that's the question that I have.
Is it really year 1? And like I said, the thing about it is like you said, it will be more understandable and more sympathetic if the team was bad. If the team's roster was bad, that's one thing. But the expectation that he said out of his own mouth was outrun the South, which set the expectation of winning the South. Like you said, you got your two quarterbacks that you gonna roll with. You got your playmakers on offense and defense. So as far as year one, he has failed expectations for a team that was supposed to go to the playoffs. And like you said, that's where it comes down to. Like I said, some folks may not like it or not, but that's where a lot of people is running with it. Now, year two is going to be a critical year for him, which is 2025, because like you said, you got your quarterback of the future. You got your playmakers. You pretty much going to be running with the same team. So are you going to be able to progress this team in the right direction? Because I'm going to say this will be the last couple minutes on this. Let me ask you a question, Mark. And I'm going to ask everybody in the chat this question. Was the 2021 Atlanta Falcons a better team than the 2024 Atlanta Falcons?
The 2020?
2021.
2021.
Would you say that the 2021 Falcons were on par with the 2024 Falcons? I'm just talking about roster wise and expectation wise. Yeah.
No.
I said fuck no.
No, it ain't even the debate. It's not even the conversation, honestly.
It's not the conversation, but this is what I'm. Yeah, but like I said, this is what I'm talking about with the team expectations from the public and the media itself. This is what I'm talking about. 2021 looked at as a team that everybody thought was going to win no more than 3-4 games. 2024 was a team that expected to win at least 10, 11 games. So you can't really, like I said, it's apples and oranges. It's all this stuff that's combined. At the end of the day, they fell below the fans' expectations this year. Like I said, 2025 is the redemption year for Raheem Morris and the Atlanta Falcons. But the very people that are giving him that chance and the ones that's kind of fighting back with folks that are criticizing him, the patience is going to run thin real quick. If the Falcons don't get the results that they need for 2025, Raheem Morris's damn seat gonna be on. It's gonna be ninth circle of hellfire because you're not progressing this team. Arthur Smith's problem was he didn't progress the team. Like I said, he had the excuse of it being a bad team, but the team never progressed, which is why he got fired.
Which goes back to the same conversation. What is Raheem good at? And nobody has yet to answer that.
Yeah, like I said, Clay Bell said 2021 was a practice squad team. It was Matt Ryan and them. That's the team. It was Matt Ryan and them because nobody thought Cordero Patterson was going to be CP. He came into this team just as a special teams player. He ended up being a fan favorite. Outside of that, and Kyle Pitts, everybody else was like, "What in the hell are we looking at?" Yeah, this offseason is going to make or break our next 5 years. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah. BP here said, man, people forgot that Russell Gage was the number one wide receiver. Let me repeat that one more time. Yo, number one wide receiver for majority of that year was Russell Gage. The same Russell Gage who's not even playing in it, who hasn't really played in the NFL in the last 2 years. Yeah, like you said, this is
That's
his last. Do you agree with this one? This may be his last chance to be a head coach in the NFL. Do
I
you see
mean,
that?
I absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I mean, this is the last chance, but my thing is, I don't really. My thing is you have to just. I'm asking for him to just improve in something.
Right,
He's still the same Raheem that we left him with. A
right.
dude with a coke and a smile. That's it. A
So
great personality and a fucking smile. He's the same dude that everybody likes him. Everybody think he has potential, but he's not showing us anything. The defense of pass rush is still the exact same way we lost. The linebackers are the exact same way. The DBs are exact same way what we had last year prior to him. So we can't say it was just he did that for Jesse Bates and AJ. Those guys they were already top DBs in the league. Offensively, we've been a top 5 in the top 10 offense damn the entire time Matt Ryan was quarterback. So
a whole decade, it was a top 10 offense, but majority of the decade, outside of maybe 1 or 2 years, that the defense finished higher than 23rd, 24th, 25th in the league.
which is the problem. So my thing is just show me something where he's improved. And we keep talking about potential. That's the exact same thing we're looking at Kyle Pitts. He's not showing his potential. Everybody want to get rid of him. This guy Raheem is showing us nothing but a coke and a smile. And we want
Man, and let me get to this comment, and we're going to transition into that topic at hand. JBM93 here said, Kirk killed the team with his play. The chances to bench was all on Raheem. When defense played good, offense horrible, vice versa. Why can't we just have both being good at the same time? Yeah. I mean, Kirk shows, and I'm going to tell everybody this about Kirk Cousins. Yes, he was hurt, but he was mentally shot after that Seattle game, and he never recovered. So, like I said, one person you have to blame on that, you probably have to blame Raheem on that, just for the simple fact of recognizing and doing something about it quickly. So, we'll come into that. But let's go ahead and, like I said, we got 60 people in here. I see we right around the 30 likes, around 50%. So, ain't no need to do no infomercial on that. Let's get right into the last topic because we got about 30 minutes. So, Kyle Pitts, and you mentioned it. As we already know, Kyle Pitts is going to be the biggest. Morris is a double-minded man, unstable in his ways. Yeah. But Kyle Pitts is the story of the Falcons offseason right now because it's the talk around the town that maybe he needs to be on the trading market, and he has fell below expectations. As I titled it, Doomsday for Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. So, Mike, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think Kyle Pitts will be on this Falcons roster in 2025?
I mean, I do, but I can actually see. I just know he's frustrated. I know the organization is frustrated. I think he's going to take a conversation between those two sides to kind of figure out what happens, what will happen, because we do have a new quarterback, and like you said, I don't think we quite a few people thought that it was a huge risk for a guy that was coming back from the Achilles issue. I think Raheem lied to us. I'm just gonna be real about that. He lied to us about Kirk Cousins being healthy. He knew that damn man wasn't healthy because he didn't stop. Even when we were at training camp, we didn't see this dude He was barely moving.
Mm-hmm.
And they reported that. He wasn't running. He wasn't doing anything. He started running drills in like the first preseason game or something like that. Like days before the first preseason game. That's when he started moving around and running and doing, the boots and all those types of things. Like he was doing the bootlegs, the rollouts and all that. He did that like a couple of weeks before the first preseason game. So he lied to us about this from the very beginning. So in essence, like, it just goes back to Raheem, man. It like I said, and that's another thing. That's why he didn't want not only the media, but he didn't want the fans there. They made this bullshit up live talking about they doing construction when they could have did construction in the off season. But that's a whole nother season. Oh, that's a whole nother thing.
Right. All right. So Ghost Peppers here said Raheem throwing quarterbacks under the bus. Jordan Test Boy here, so I can see Pitts throw with Penix, but his production won't be the same or what folks want in a 3 wide receiver offense. And this is where I'm going with this as far as Kyle Pitts is, and I've said this on multiple shows, with the way that the offense is going to be set up, you're not going to see another 1,000-yard season from Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. Now, you can take it how you want to take it, but if you know what the tight ends in this offense roles are, Kyle Pitts has literally played his role in this offense. Now, the biggest difference that they did this year was they used him as more of a clear out deep threat, a clear out guy to make it easy for everybody else. Now, the only way that we'll know if that's true or not is if they get rid of him and the offensive production goes down. So, my thing is, would it be bad for the Falcons if Kyle Pitts ends up on another team in 2025?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, it really just depends on where each organization and what we were talking about earlier today about where the organization is, because you can't expect when you got 6 offensive coordinators, all 6 of those offensive coordinators have the exact same feeling about Kyle Pitts. Excuse me.
Well, bless you. Bless you.
But you can't have those guys. You can't have all 6 of those guys have the same thoughts about one person. Everybody gonna have feelings about, different feelings about Kyle Pitts on where he fits in with that team and how they want to use them. Those 6 offensive minds that you're talking about. So not everybody gonna have the same thing. So I can't see that. I can't say that. Zach Robinson even wants to. Who's to say that Zach Robinson even wants a tight end to actually be a main part of the offense? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that just adds to another question right there I had too. Falcons fans, Mad Mike Sports. What if we go into 2025 with Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelly as our tight ends 1 and 2? Because it is a possibility now. Because if you look at the last month of the season, we saw a lot of Charlie Warner and a lot of Ross Dwelly. So, Maggie Ass says no, he has some value. Me personally, and this is going to be a harsh thing that I'll say, I wouldn't even trade him. I'll cut his ass.
I agree.
I would cut him because if the conscientious talking point is he can't catch, he can't block, he can't run routes, he's soft and he has no dog, he has no value to me.
Yeah.
So that becomes a distraction for this team. Because that's going to be the main talking point for this whole offseason is what are they going to do with Kyle Pitts? No. You cut his ass. Because if we're hearing the same talking point of he can't catch, he can't run routes, he can't block, he's soft, and he's lazy, why would a team trade any assets to get a guy that has all of those 5 negative qualities? Fred Butts here with another $5 super chat. He said, I think Pitts will dominate if we let him. We've never let him, don't let talent like that leave. He's finally got a good QB. Appreciate the $5. The problem is you got Bijan Robinson and you got Drake London.
Uh-huh. That's a lot of
you're not going to see Kyle Pitts get close to 1,000 yards, and we as fans are going to have to get over that.
Let me add something to ask a question to the people also, because how many people think having a good running back? I don't know what's going around. Everybody's sneezing around this mug, but how important it is for you Falcons fans to have a running game and an elite running back. All right. Mm-hmm. How important it is for y'all. I want to ask that question because I got a follow-up question for that.
All right. Because I got a question from Josh Gillen we haven't answered yet, but go ahead and ask that question one more time, Mike.
How important is it for the Falcons to have an elite running game, an elite running back?
You need it. I'm just asking for myself. You need that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes the pressure off the quarterback to try to win the game.
Okay.
And what it does is it keeps enough of a balance, and then the type of running backs you have, like with a Bijan Robinson, you already got your security blanket in that.
Mm-hmm.
You have Drake London. You have Darnell Mooney. So, that's why the Falcons call them the Big Three, the Big Four.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts is no longer relevant in Atlanta, so you got to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm going. So how many touches do you guys think an elite running back should have?
An elite running back is going to have, I'm going to answer for myself personally, and a quote-unquote elite running back is going to have at least 20 to 27 touches a game.
All year.
Oh, all year? Oh, all year? You talking about for the whole season?
Yes.
About 300. I say the good number you would want is around 300 to 350.
Okay. So we're talking about a running back that not only is an elite running back, but he adds to the passing game on top of it. Mm-hmm. So let's just say 350. Mm-hmm. And then you add another 40 to about 60 on top of it.
Bijan go give you about 50 catches a season. So yeah, you're gonna look around 350.
So you got a guy that's gonna demand 400, and that's just one player. That's just one running back. So Bijan is averaging about 400 touches a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add Tyler Algier, a guy like Tyler Algier on top of it.
You're going to get about 200.
He's going to get about 200. So that right there is about,
550. 550 touches right there.
Between two players. That's just 550. So what has happened with the Atlanta Falcons, and this is why I don't think that this has a lot to do with whether or not he can run routes and all that. I think that's an excuse I think what happened was with the Atlanta Falcons is they pretty much did it to themselves in a way, because you drafted a wide receiver, you brought in a free agent in Mooney, and then you brought in
Ray Magoof,
offensive lineman Ray Magoof. I mean, you throw him in there. I was gonna leave him out.
But he got about 700 yards receiving, so you got to throw that in there.
Yeah, and so somebody's gonna have to block. Somebody's gonna have to do the small things, and then in Zach Robinson's offense, the guys that do the small things are the tight ends. So it's not that Kyle Pitts can't run routes. It's not that Kyle Pitts is lazy. It's the fact that he has to accept his role, that he's no longer a number one, number two, or possibly a number three target because of how the team has been put together. This team has been constructed in such a way that the tight end is no longer, it's not a strong part of the offense as far as targets are concerned, catching the ball. The tight end in his offense they do the things like Juan was talking about. They send these tight ends on these flare routes. You know what I'm saying? These 9 routes to clear out space and whatnot. That's what the tight end does. So the thing is, if that's the case, then are we better off trying to convince Kyle to look, I know you want to be that guy, but we know injuries happen in football, and we've seen this time and time again. Do you want to have a guy like Kyle Pitts that you know that could be that if we need him that for emergency purposes? Because there's been games where we didn't have Mooney. There's been games where we didn't have Drake Leonard because of he wasn't 100%, but he's been injured. So you want to give him away for a 3rd round pick or 4th round pick when we know that Kyle Pitts in certain situations when we need him, he can do that? Do you want to give that away? I don't think anybody cares about that right now because we're so focused on his numbers and what he's not doing right now. But the thing is what K Styles always say. We got 3 guys that are doing that already. So do we really need him to do that?
But then here's the question that you have to ask with that too is, let's say the Falcons get rid of him. Who is your preemptive deep threat on this team right now? Because if you really look at it, this team outside of Kyle Pitts, every other receiver is not treated as a deep threat.
No, Drake is not a deep threat. He actually, Kyle Pitts actually runs faster. He got a faster 40 time than Drake. Drake really isn't a speed guy.
So since we've already have established the fact that Kyle Pitts may be gone, Mike, I'm gonna say this. I think you may be right. And this hurts me to say this. But Falcon fans, do not be surprised if they draft a wide receiver with that 1st or 2nd round pick this year.
Yep.
Because after this season, Mooney's contract becomes irrelevant too. So they might be already trying to set up wide receiver number 2.
Don't be surprised, y'all.
Because the thing about it is with this type of offense, you need a slot guy that can create some type of attention. And I'm gonna say this right now: Charlie Warner may be tight end 1 for this offense. Charlie Warner may be tight end 1 for the Atlanta Falcons in 2025.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is Kyle Pitts is such a distraction for this team. They can't afford to keep him around much longer. Because the attention is always going to be he's a bust, he's a bum, he's terrible, he's lazy, he ain't got no dog in the fight. The Falcons have put themselves in a position that they cannot keep Kyle Pitts for 2025.
They can't. Don't be surprised, y'all. I'm telling you. They can't.
Because it's such a negative connotation on this team by the media and the fan base that's going to be a distraction for Michael Penix. Because the main talking point is why the hell Kyle Pitts is not involved.
Mm-hmm.
What we got? Terry said Pitts will help us win games next year. I'm going to tell y'all right now, and we've said this shit from the beginning. Terry Fontenot ain't shit. Don't trust whatever the fuck he said.
You should never trust Terry Fontenot. I mean, we should know that by now.
But I say that in a good way because it's always the throw your rocks and hide your hand thing. He may say Pitts will help us win games just to find a trade partner. But got about 10 more minutes, and we're gonna continue this conversation throughout the week. But I want to go ahead and start getting into some questions here within the next 10 minutes. Josh here said, "Do we resign Drew Dalman?"
I say without a doubt. There's no doubt.
I agree. I agree for the simple fact that Drew Dalman is very key to your run game.
Yeah, he's a beast in the running game, man. That dude is nasty.
Yeah, because like you said, the run game works well with him. I know a lot of people look at Ryan Newsel. Ryan Newsel, they may let him walk because he's played enough snaps where he's going to be getting a little bit more money than what you would want to pay for a backup center. So I think they'll re-sign Drew Dalman.
Ray McLeod is going to be free agent, y'all. That's another thing too.
Free agent. Rondale Moore is a free agent. Ray McLeod may be a free agent. Let's see if they re-sign Cordero Hodge. But here's the one thing about Casey Washington, and I watched him at Syracuse. He's fast, but he, like I said, but he does most of his damage in the mid-level game, which could be a weapon in itself.
He's a lot like Puka Nacua. That's what he is.
Basically. He's a faster Puka Nacua. BP with the 499 here said you got Blair Washington, who already worked with Pettis. Right now, Pitts is expendable. That's why I said cut him.
Nobody.
I would look. I say it like this. If you want to save the headache and the public backlash of Kyle Pitts being on this team, cut his ass.
Why keep him around? My thing is why keep him around? You don't cut
him.
Get rid of him.
Cut him. Eat that $10 million. Because the thing about it is if, like I said, and I'm gonna say this once again. If you say he can't run routes, He can't catch passes. He can't block. He's soft. He has no dog in him. Who is really going to trade for that? Would you trade, like Mike, I'm going to ask you a serious question. Would you trade for somebody that got all of those negative qualities? Let me ask everybody in the chat. Would you trade anybody that had the negative qualities of can't catch, can't block, can't run routes, who is soft and lazy?
Why? No, absolutely.
Because my black ass ain't trading for nothing like that.
Absolutely not. No.
Tell me the truth.
No.
Would y'all trade for that?
Forgetting something in them. Like you're talking, we didn't ask you that. Would you trade for that guy? All right. That's the question. He said, would you trade for that guy? If that's what he get, not, we're not saying that it's Pitts. We're just putting anybody's name in there. If that's what the reputation
I'm gonna say Pitts just for the simple fact that he's the subject of this conversation.
I get that, but though what I'm saying is yeah, we know it's Pitts, but if you heard those negative connotations, would you be saying, yeah, let me see what this is about?
Because the thing about it is, if these 5 negative traits are in the air, you don't think the next team sees that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think the next team sees that? Would the next team even trust to get a guy like that if he has all 5 of those negative traits?
Again, a lot of people not being truthful. You're not being truthful. We're talking about if you are a team. We're not talking about the Atlanta Falcons. We're talking about if you're a team and the Atlanta Falcons came to you with those negative connotations of those negative traits. Okay? If they came to you and said, hey, bro, I got this car over here. You know, it got about 300,000 miles. The paint wore off of it. You know, the starter, it takes a minute for it to start up. I need a new damn everything in the motherfucker, to be honest. If they came up with all of that and say, all right, so would you say to yourself, all right, let me just see it?
Chuck here said, we got a second for Sanu. We can get some for Pitts. Y'all didn't call Sanu soft, weak, and basically said he can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Y'all said that Sanu was an emotional leader for this team. There's a difference. You would trade for somebody that you see that is an emotional leader and a guy that could play on the field. A team ain't going to trade for nobody that got the 5 negative traits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking about that. We're talking about the negative. Y'all want to say on one hand,
the thing is, y'all can't say that he's trash, but then expect to get something for him and he's trash. Because the thing about it is, you may get something, but you're not going to get what you expect if he's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Because based on what y'all said, what Kyle Pitts has the 5 negative traits I just said, his value is a 7th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
His value is a 6th or 7th round pick at best.
Because we barely got anything for Okudah. Like, we barely trade anything for Okudah. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Okudah didn't make a Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Remember, the 5 negative traits that Falcon fans and Falcon media have put out about Kyle Pitts all this year. Are you really trading? Is any team really going to trade for that? And if they do, I'll be shocked. And the thing about with those 5 negative traits, are those 5 negative traits something that you would keep around a young quarterback like Michael Penix?
Mm-hmm.
The Southside said he believes somebody will still trade him because he sits and have a thought. Well, according to the city of Atlanta, that 1,000-yard season never counted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't count. Everybody keeps saying that somebody's gonna see something in him. So the thing is, you're talking off both sides of your mouth. You can't say on one hand that he's not that good for us, and then somebody's going to see something in him. What are they going to see? If another team is going to trade for him, he has to have some value.
He don't have any value if the value from the city itself is he's garbage. What value? Hey, Mike, how much would you pay for a bag of trash?
Man, you don't get that shit out my face.
Fred Bus here. Hold on. Either Fred Bus threw the piss a lot if you didn't notice. But I also noticed that Kyle Pitts wasn't in the game that much neither.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged about 15 to 20 snaps a game since Penix's been in there. That's also another thing you have to take into account.
And Justin Fields actually had good games. He wasn't trash.
Justin Fields wasn't called soft. Can't throw, can't run, can't read defenses. They said he had a lot of potential.
He had a lot of potential.
Kyle Pitts, let's go back to the 5 negative traits. Can't catch, can't block, can't run routes, soft, and ain't got no dog. And like I said, the thing about it is this is not an ancillary talking point. This is a talking point from a lot of people, not only just from the fan base, but a lot of former players and a lot of media personnel too.
Mm-hmm. See, no, they didn't say that about Kyle. They didn't say that about Justin Fields. They said Justin Fields need to be with the right quarterback. If he was with the right coach.
Right. They didn't say that about Kyle Pitts. They said, once again, the 5 negative traits. We just gonna stay that was associated with Kyle Pitts. Like I said, this didn't come from just fans. This came from football players, former players, sports media, and other team executives. So this is not ancillary just to fans. This is coming from NFL personnel.
And nobody said Geno Smith was garbage. He was soft and all that type of stuff. They say he was good enough to be a game manager, and that's what it was. They never said he was garbage and all those types of things.
Plus a second round pick is never really considered a bust anyway.
A bust, yeah.
The 5th-year option doesn't mean shit when it comes to a public perception.
Mm-hmm.
His fifth year option is $10 million. His 5th year option actually would have been a lot more if he would have got 1,000 yards. If he would have got a 1,000-yard season last year, his 5th year option would have been around close to 17, 18 million. And this is where it comes down to. Shorts didn't live up to the expectations of what a lot of people thought about him. Cut his ass. He's gone, y'all. If like I said, if Kyle Pitts still on this team in 2025, I would be shocked. And if he's still on this team, y'all can have y'all "I told you so" money. I'd be shocked if he's on this team in 2025.
My thing is, why are you motherfuckers trying to hold on to somebody who y'all say trash? You don't like him. He gonna be the 5th or 6th option on this team. Why are y'all still trying to get anything? Just get him off the fucking team and draft somebody else. Y'all want to keep holding on to a guy that y'all say that's trash. That shit is insane.
Because the thing is, they don't want him to be good for nobody else. That's really what it comes down to.
So in essence, y'all still think that he has value, right?
Because if you say he still has value, Mike asked the question earlier. So if you think he has potential or he has value, Why does it have to be with somebody else? Why can't it be on this team? Unfortunately, they got too many playmakers. And if Kyle Pitts doesn't lead this league in receiving, unfortunately, he's going to be looked at as a failure. So my last word is cut that motherfucker. Ain't nobody trading for him. Just get rid of the distraction.
Get rid of his ass and start over. Let's bring in another tight end. You got plenty of tight ends that coming out in this draft. Y'all want to sit up here and hold him hostage because you don't want to see him succeed nowhere else, even though he's been a failure here in Atlanta. Man, get that man off the fucking team and let his ass go play for the goddamn Winnipeg, Saskatchewan Jets or some bullshit.
Right. Kyle Pitts gonna end up in Kansas City. So he ain't gonna end up in Kansas City. He probably gonna end up with the Giants or Jets somewhere.
Like, get him the hell out. Y'all want to keep him around. Y'all want to keep a guy that y'all say is trash around because you scared that he's going to have a good season somewhere else.
Like I said, man. They may not draft another tight end. Like I said, they may just be comfortable with Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelly. So, as Falcon fans, we have to be prepared for that as well. Because we could talk about how much of a failure Kyle Pitts is, but we also have to talk about the what-if scenario if he's not here because of that failure. And just be prepared. It's a possibility. That's why I say it's a possibility. I didn't say it was a guarantee. It's a possibility that Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelly will be our tight ends 1 and 2 for 2025. He said, Fred Butt said, I'll tip you $100 if Pitts is not here. You ain't got to tip me no money, man. And I know it's kind of weird for somebody to say, oh, you turning down money? You ain't got to tip me a damn thing. I just appreciate the conversation and stuff. You ain't gotta tip me nothing, man. Cause it's hard out here. A lot of like I said, I appreciate the super chats, I appreciate the memberships and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't beg for them because I know it's hard out here for everybody. So, man, we're gonna go ahead and get up on out of here, man. Like I said, man, I ain't really got nothing much more to say, but definitely appreciate y'all. 6-man convo. We do have a STS session going on Saturday, but it will probably be Saturday night. We'll pretty much be talking about the NFL championship games. Trying to figure out another topic to talk about as well. So we'll let you know in ahead of time. So till next time, people, we here to play.
Oh no.
We here to stay.
Oh yeah, nigga.
We ain't gotta go home.
But you got to cut Kyle Pitts the fuck up out of here. Ooh, yeah.
We out. Y'all have a good day. Hold on, wait a minute. We got a $2 super chat before we left. Terry Lloyd said, Matt Ryan made every tight end he had look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Kyle Pitts, cut his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We still going to have the wrestling podcast here coming up. So don't worry about that. Still will be coming up. Probably gonna add another wrestling podcast as well on the network as well.
Yeah.
So all right, man. So y'all have a good night. Deuces.